how can we show how strictly team coaching and OD interventions can be related? And so our aim for today is just to have this kind of conversation with you. And Deep is going to go a little bit deeper into what the specific objectives will be. But I also want to say thank you to all the ones that replied to the survey, because through your survey, we really had the chance to have a first contact with you and understand what you're really interested in.
To take away, however, keeping in mind we only have 2 hours together, we thought if we are able to cover and deep dive into each of these, we should be able to do some justice to the request that we received on your survey, which we sent out to understand. And this flow has come from the survey that we had posted. And that allowed us to come up with these 4 objectives, which is defining team coaching, introducing a systemic approach to team coaching, exploring OD applications of team coaching, and your questions and answers. So these are pretty much it. And we would get into a case study together. We would also have an opportunity to see the skills and competencies of a team coach. And what resonance do you find with an OD consultant? If that is, team coach has to be an OD consultant, we'll leave that.
Maybe over time or in a specific role. I don't think that we use this very much in team coaching, because the real client of team coaching is the team understood a little bit as one entity. And so we would focus more on the team's potential. And of course, we then invite individuals to share what they believe are their strengths or the qualities that they can bring in order for the team to maximize its potential. So of course, at some level, this involves also people working with their individual potential, but the focus is always in service of meaningful team's goals, systemic goals, organizational goals. It's just the accent which is different. I would say at some level, team coaching includes and transcends the conversation related to the potential of the individuals, and focuses more on the potential of the team. Yeah. I don't know if this is a good answer.
Yeah, and also what's this reminding me of is Timothy Galway's definition of performance, which is equal to potential minus interference. So yes, as a team coach, we do work on the potential. And yes, there are complementary competencies that can support each other to perform in a more optimum level.
Is sports and performance psychology, theory of human development, potential psychology, and so on. So this is a little bit the theoretical background. And I would say in team coaching, the approach is the same. So what a team coach usually does is to increase the awareness of dynamics and relationships in a team. So usually we work to make more visible what's usually invisible, but is felt, or to make explicit what usually is implicit in terms of dynamics and relationships, expanding the awareness not only on what's happening, but also on what impact these are having on individuals, but external stakeholders, performance and results. Another very important element of a team coach's approach is not to come in as the expert on the business of the client, but more of as a facilitator that supports and challenges, but then finally gives responsibility to the team to decide what's the best way forward. Because this element of taking responsibility, trying things out, and then reflecting again on what happened, and then finding another way forward, that's part of the learning journey of a team coming from a pseudo team, a high-performing team. And often this awareness of responsibility is raised at the same time on the processes, on how the processes deliver certain outcomes, and on the quality of relationships in the team. And I would say a big part of team coaching is also inviting people to connect with a meaningful purpose of the team in service of the key stakeholders of the team. And I think I never stress this element enough. But I was sharing with you, I'm working with some UN teams in recent times. And often I am impressed by how it is, even in the sector or the third sector or international intergovernmental sector, to lose track of the mandate or the mission or the purpose of what we're doing. Because the stress level and the level of pressure and the bureaucracy sometimes become so invasive that all the conversations become internal and transactional. And then a team easily loses focus on what's most important. And actually, a big part of team coaching is to expand that awareness every time and invite the team to connect and reconnect with what is the adventure that you want to be living. Why are you doing what you're doing? Why are you existing as a team? Why do you need a team in service of what goals and what purpose? What's giving you energy? What are the life-giving forces of what you're doing? What do you really value? Are you really putting first things first, and so on? That's a big part of what we do in team coaching. And of course, these conversations around the meaningful purpose or the noble purpose of what we're doing, that drive not only the best energy, but also the most creative thinking. Because we support teams to create a trust, a passion, and value-led strategy solutions rather than fear-led solutions and strategies. And of course, a team coach is not a consultant in terms of his role is not to take over the leadership of the team.
I'll look up for that link and share with you all as well. So that's from me. Okay. Yes. So this is a small case study that we thought we'll just bring out for your reference. At TPC Leadership India, we were approached by a logistics organization wherein the CEO wasn't so happy with his own team, the leadership team of COO, CFO, and the sales head. And teams reporting to them were not aligned to the values of the organization. So they approached us to support the leadership team first to come and collaborate with each other, know the purpose, get back and live the values that they wanted to when they started off 20 years ago. So this was more about redefining of vision, values, mission, and the ways of working. So we worked with this team starting. It was a 1 year long intervention that happened, and this happened after their distress stage. They have had a HR consultancy firm which worked on the processes, but those processes were just laid down, and the systems were there but were not being followed. There was not a mindset which was equipped enough to follow those processes, and the CEO almost felt like a lonely soldier in the battlefield. So this was the case study. Andrea, if you could just move to the next slide. And together with not only the team members of these people, the COO, the sales head, the CFO, but also the customers of the organization who have stayed with them and who have also left them during the course of their growing up, and also now they were slowing down and they were at a statutory mode. And they said that, we really need to do something about our sales. We need to do something about our employee satisfaction because the employees are also leaving us. So what is it that we can do to turn around the situation? So TPC Leadership India worked by customizing a 360-degree intervention, first of all, to diagnose and analyze the problem, analyze the current reality, also the mindset, the barriers that were coming in the way of collaborating and being one. The CEO kept stressing that I want a culture of one team. Nobody should say me, but we. However, we found during the team coaching intervention, when the SWOT analysis was presented back to the team, the CEO had to admit that it was him who was leading with an attitude of a me, and he kept saying I in our initial conversations with the team. So that had to be taken away. That can become a barrier for the team to become we. So we worked with the CEO on an individual basis, coached him and his team on an individual basis, and we worked on the overall team's culture, first of all. That cascaded down to their teams by making them great storytellers around vision, values, and ways of working. So we worked with them, we team coached them on those skills and capabilities. And then we also supported them with systemic and process-based approaches, that what system changes would they want to now do within their, so communication procedures came in to picture. They started meeting up often. They had living the value reward system in place later on. And that's what they reported, had enabled their customers to stick with them. The customer experience got enhanced, and they had a higher CSAT, higher ESAT, high conversions absolutely from the sales team, and low attrition rate by the end of the entire intervention. And during the intervention, they said that they could see the spikes of motivation going up, and the CEO and his team had to work in collaboration to keep the motivation up, the morale up of the team throughout. So yes, team coach just enables you to, bring out the sustainable processes that you can continue to lead and support your team with, and then that's their responsibility to carry on. You follow up, and you keep in touch with them to just see what's the traction, how are they, what's the needle that's moving. So yeah, so this was a success story, and they made the highest. The last year was their personal best in terms of revenue generation as well, and from team per se, the morale was up. So this was the case study that I wanted to present, Andrea. If there is anything else, Andrea, I think we're also less on time. We just have another 20 minutes together. Should we move on to the next slide? And I'll quickly take them through. This is the team I was talking about. So that's how we create, thank you, Joy. That's how we create a systemic map of stakeholders. And you can very well see there were a few team members that he felt really far away from. And interestingly, that was from his own family. And that becomes even more challenging to work on. However, with authority, presence, and impact, as Andrea keeps saying, and also other skill set of a team coach, you need to manage those dynamics really well in the group. So seeing what's working well, who's far, who's close, what's in between the space, what's coming in the way, being able to look at the systems holistically. Yes. So we pretty much had the systemic approach, Andrea, which you said. So we worked with the leadership team, and we worked with the teams underneath as team coach for them. Yeah. So this was system map.
Yeah, I'm wondering if any of you guys is familiar with the management constellations, for example. Have you heard of it?
Andrea, I've just heard of it, but do not have too much details.
Yeah, so maybe family constellation work.
Yes.
Right? Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so systemic constellation, management constellation is the same principle, but applied to business environments, organizational environments. I think here you see we collect all the because post-its, and I take them one and then we debrief them. So again, it's about talking about the fears in the environment and addressing the main fears, so that then we can open also the bucket of the first topics. I see Joy writes, when it comes to team building, recruiting mandates, then the fitment is more important than having a mental level IQ. Yes.
Yes, and in fact, to answer the Rohit's question, it is certainly about psychological safety. It is certainly about IQ. At the same time, EQ also plays a big role here. Perception of self plays a role here, and how much is the person himself is able to express their opinion. Most of the times, like I'm working with a global management consulting firm, and I'm coaching their team members to have a better share of voice in the room, and most of it just drills down to the self-belief. Most of it drills down to the fear of failure. What if those what ifs are dragging them back, holding them back? So we just work on those what ifs and turn the situation around for those individuals in the team, so that they can be more, they can raise their awareness and increase their potential, leading to a better team performance. So it is certainly vice versa also.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
We are missing 5 minutes before the end. Maybe shall we do the last last Menti question for the group?
Why not? Yes. Thanks, Andrew. Thank you, Mahi. Indeed, all of you made it insightful for us as well. So what's your key takeaway from our conversation today? Great. Some of the takeaways are already coming on the screen.
I like the team coaching is a journey.
Yeah. It is a journey, indeed.
Yeah.
It is not a one-time.
And not an event. That didn't come.
Not an event, yes.
Yeah.
I typed that, but it didn't come here.
Yeah.
So, Kamal, we closed it. We completed your sentence.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm totally with you. Often I say team coaching is much more what happens between the sessions than what happens in the sessions. So the fact that people drive stuff forward between a conversation and another.
Okay. Monica, what if we strike a conversation later on the evaluation piece? However, yes, there was something that Andrea wanted to quickly touch base on evaluation, measurement of the team coaching.
Yeah, as you complete your answers, let me say one thing about this, because we committed to. What we usually do, we use what we call the reverse Kirkpatrick or mirror Kirkpatrick. So we push very hard for business outcomes, measures, and KPIs. So we try to understand what is the ultimate impact that the team wants and needs to achieve from a business perspective. And then based on that, we create more specific KPIs, which can be under control of the team, leading to those outcomes. And those become a little bit like performance measures. And then the other thing that we assess is more internally. We use assessment tools, for example, to measure how the team members perceive that team performance, climate, culture is improved. And sometimes part of the KPIs are built together with the key stakeholders. So stakeholders are invited to feedback on KPI. And so if I need to summarize, what we try to do is going from hard business measures, starting from there, more to learning measures and performance measures than to individual